Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Listen, this is going to be a follow-up video from a video I did a couple of weeks ago talking about live transfers, our TV program where clients are calling in. But I've had a lot of agents ask me, Joe, maybe I'd be better off starting out with Facebook leads because they are a lot less expensive. When I'm doing this video right now, TV leads average price is about 85 bucks. Facebook leads, depending on whether you're generating them yourselves or you're buying from a vendor, anywhere from 20 to, 35 bucks. So there's certainly some truth to that. And trust me, I've always been a big fan of Facebook leads. I've done very well with Facebook leads. However, what I have noticed is that I'll say the conversion ratio, the pickup ratio, just getting people to answer the phone is getting tougher and tougher and tougher. So, what I thought I would do is just do a quick comparison based on all the numbers that I've seen, all the research that I've done, based on our agency and what other people are reporting. I'm going to share some numbers with you and let you decide for yourself which one may be better. Maybe you start out with Facebook leads, make a few sales, and then move into TV leads, live transfers when you get a little bit more experience. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen with you. Oh, by the way, I'm your host today, Joe Johnson, Senior Life. If you like content like this, the first time visiting the channel, do me a big favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, post a comment, let me know what you've experienced with Facebook leads, or maybe you've taken TV leads. Now, when it comes to live transfers, there's a lot of different types of live transfers, okay? And I can get into a little bit of that, but primarily what I'm going to be talking about are live transfers where people are calling in from a TV commercial, either from cable TV or could be streaming TV as well. So, like the video, post a comment, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. And if you'd like to get more information, if you want to contact me, if you want to find out more about live transfers, if you want to work with me, work with our team, work with Senior Life, I will leave a link in the description below. Click the link, contact me. I'll reach out to you. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if working with Senior Life, working with my team could potentially be a good fit for you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and I'm going to go through this information pretty quick. And good thing it's recorded because you can always play it back, right? Make this a little bit bigger. Here we go. First thing we're going to be talking about are Facebook leads and real life closing ratios. Here's the thing about Facebook leads. They are certainly very good. And I believe most of the clients that click on an ad maybe have some interest. Okay. However, 5 seconds later, they've already forgotten about it. Okay. So the contact rate, what I've noticed on Facebook, has really dropped over the last 5 years. So what we're noticing on just your standard Facebook leads, your contact ratio is going to be somewhere between 30 to 60%. That's how many people you can actually get to pick up the phone. Okay. But that requires a lot of dialing. Most of them are not going to pick up on the first ring. You're going to have to call them 10, 15, maybe 20 times to get them to pick up. Because the contact ratios are so low, the closing ratios are low, about 5 to 10%, 1 out of 20, maybe 2 out of 20. Well qualified. They're not all Facebook leads are created equal. There's some that are a higher intent. Maybe they ask more questions. They're more qualifying. Maybe they have to text in to verify their phone number. With those, you're going to have a higher contact rate, 50 to 70%. And because you're contacting more, your closing ratio is going to go up. It's going to bump you up to about 10, 15%. I believe that's where it's going to cap out. You may get lucky with a batch of leads and get up to 20, 25%, but long term consistently, I think if you're a good agent, you're working well qualified leads, I would shoot for no more than about a 15% closing ratio on most Facebook leads. Age Facebook leads, to be honest, I wouldn't even waste my time. unless your upline is giving you free leads that you can dial through. Think about working age Facebook leads. You really got to worry about compliance because you don't know. Maybe that person filled out a form 6 months ago, and since then they've put their name on the do not contact list. So just be aware and be careful with those. Here's what this means in real life numbers. Means if you purchase 100 Facebook leads, could be a week, could be a month, you're going to get in touch with, we'll say roughly half of them. So if you buy 100, you're really only going to talk to about half of them, maybe 50 people. And um, an average agent should write maybe somewhere between 5 to 7 policies off of 100 leads. And that could be north of, you know, $2,500 lead investment to write 5 policies. An elite producer, someone who's on top of their game, they do everything right, they got incredible follow-up, incredible work ethic, they've got the script down, they know how to overcome objections, they're going to do quite a bit better. They're going to average between 8 to 15 policies or 8 to 15% off of 100 leads. Now, this is what actual agents are experiencing from Facebook leads. This is what we've noticed. I broke it down into 3 categories: average, strong, and elite. As I mentioned before, your average agents are going to be closing about 5 to 10%. That means your acquisition cost, if you're spending on average 25 bucks per lead, that means for you to make one sale, you're going to have to invest somewhere between $285 and it could be as much as 500 to make one sale. Okay? But this is the price you got to pay. This is getting you through the learning curve. I've been there. I know what it's like. It's going to require heavy dialing. I think sometimes agents, when they're making outbound calls on Facebook leads, they drastically underestimate the amount of prospecting it's going to take to make a sale. So heavy dialing, 2 to 300 dials per day. That's not, you're not calling 2 or 300 leads, but you're calling your leads 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times a day to try to get them to pick up the phone. You're emailing them, you're texting them, you're doing everything you can. At least 6 hours a day of actual dial time, which hopefully can result in a couple of hours of talk time. Strong agent is going to be closing 10 to 15%. Acquisition cost, you're going to get down to about 185 to 275 because you're closing more sales. Strong closers are going to have a good grasp of the script. They follow the script. They know how to maneuver and navigate off the script, get back on the script. They have good follow-up. They're calling their leads quickly. Within the first 5 minutes, they're on them. And they work leads, which I already mentioned, work leads strong day or same day and have very strong work ethic. An elite producer could get up as high as 12 to 18%. This is rare, but this is what we call an elite producer. Acquisition costs, you're going to get down to 150 to 225. This is really good. Anytime you can get your acquisition cost down to under $200, I'm just telling you, you're doing well and you're making money because on a final expense, your commission should be, if your average premium is 900, you're going to get advanced, you know, 600, $700. So you're doing pretty well. Um, Elite closers have elite sales skills and they back up those sales skills with high activity, 2 to 300 dials every day, relentless consistency. Now, I'm going to talk about why I feel Facebook leads ratios are low. Okay. One is just getting people to pick up the phone. It's hard, even it's hard to get somebody to pick up the phone. You can't make them pick up the phone. That's why I like live transfers because they're calling me. I'm not chasing them. I'm not calling them. So that's one thing. The other thing too is that click curiosity. Facebook leads, they're popping up in the client's news feed. They see it. Maybe they ignore it. They scroll past it, or maybe they click on it. They don't fill anything out. Then they get more ads. and they're just curious. They just want to find out what it's about. Maybe they're really not interested. The other thing too that you got to consider is that if they're clicking on your ad, they're clicking on other ads, and they could have clicked on other ads a week prior. Maybe no one ever gotten back in touch with them, and then they fill out your response, you're calling them, and then they're mad because their phone's blowing up. Well, just understand is that if they clicked on one, chances are they clicked on multiple ads. This is why the speed to lead, calling that client is important. However, even though you may be calling the client quickly, that doesn't mean other agents haven't already called that client. Okay? So just know that. Agents experience something I call reluctance, anxiety, and fatigue. Reluctance means they have the leads, but they're just chicken to call them. They're nervous about what's going to happen. They have anxiety when they get on the phone. They sound scripted. And fatigue. It's not easy to be on the phone dialing 6 to 8 hours a day, hoping to get people to answer the phone. It can be exhausting sometimes. I've been there. Okay, now I'm going to transfer over or transition, talk about TV leads. Okay. Real closing ratios on TV inbound final expense leads. Now, these I'm specifically talking about TV commercials. Now, full transparency, we do other live transfers. We have live transfers you can get as low as $28. They're not as good as the TV ads. These could be Facebook ads, they could be internet ads. The difference is that instead of a client filling out a form and waiting for an agent, is that if they want to talk to an agent now, there's an 800 number they can call in and be connected directly with you. It's about the same price as a Facebook lead. The only difference is that your connection rate on a live transfer, instead of being 50%, is going to be 100%. So for about the same cost, you're going to talk to twice as many people. Hopefully that makes sense. But again, on a TV lead, I'm going to be talking about closing ratios. Your average agent is going to close 15 to 25%. This means you're getting through the learning curve. You're learning how to do this for the first time. Once you get better and you become a strong closer, you should be closing 25 to 35%. And then an elite closer, someone who's mastered their craft, they're really good at navigating through the script, closing the clients, getting the sale. We'd like to see everybody eventually get up to 35 to 45% closing ratio. Just keep in mind, you do have to go through that learning curve. It may take you 90 to 120 days to get to that type of closing ratio. Okay, what does this mean in real terms, real numbers? That means to make one sale, you're going to have to talk to probably a minimum somewhere between 3 to 7 people. That's how many calls you're going to have to take. Most agents are able to close 20 to 25%. That means you're going to make one sale for every 4 to 5 calls or conversations that you have. Now, why are TV inbound leads, why do they close so much higher compared to Facebook or other purchase leads? One thing, think of this, is that your contact rate on a live transfer is 100%. So you don't have to worry about whether or not the client's going to pick up the phone and remember filling out the form. They're calling in off of an ad. So very high intent. They initiate the call. They're calling you. They already trust the brand, especially on a TV lead. It's called TV authority, the FTC. Everybody knows there's rules on TV. You can't lie. You can't do false advertising. You get in really big trouble. So if somebody sees something on TV, if it's a TV commercial, we have a higher tendency to believe that. And we call it TV authority. And they're calling in, so they're in a buying mindset. It's a higher intent than a Facebook lead. The other thing that I like is no more chasing clients. And that's not to say we don't do follow up. We still do follow up. You're not going to close everybody. Some people are going to need to think about it. They need to talk to their spouse or their kids. You're always going to have that. But we don't chase people. There's no dialing. You're not on the phone, pounding the phone for 6 to 8 hours a day, hoping someone will pick up. The endless text cycles, voicemail cycles, email cycles. The other thing too is what I love is that you're having real-time conversations. They're calling in, you're talking to them. Here are some realistic daily productions. We want every agent, if you're going to participate in the program, if you're going to, the days that you're going to take inbound calls, be willing to take at least 7 to 8 inbound TV leads. If you can close 25% of them, that means you're making 2 sales a day. Remember, our average AP on a TV commercial is about 900. So you're going to be making eight, if you do it full time, 8 to 12 sales a week. That's somewhere around 7,200 to over 10,000, almost 11,000 in annualized premium per week working TV leads. And you're not chasing people, you're not making outbound calls. Um, it's pretty nice. I like it. Okay, let's talk about the average cost. TV leads, our commercial TV leads are $85 per lead, okay, which may seem expensive. However, think of it this way, if you're paying 20, 25 bucks for a Facebook lead and you got to buy 4 or 5 of them just to get somebody to have a conversation, well, I mean, it's costing you, 100 bucks, 75 to 100 bucks just to talk to somebody. So realistically, it's really sounds expensive, but it's really not when you break it down by how many conversations that you're having. So there are some um, low quality live transfers out there. We don't mess with those deals where you got people making illegal calls from Pakistan and then getting transferred. Don't ever take those. You can get in really big trouble. Okay, you want to work legit live transfers. That's what we produce. So we don't do any of the low quality ones. We have in your standard live transfer call, typically anywhere depending on what vendor you're working with, 80 is as much as $140. Ours right now, as when I'm doing this video, they could go down a little bit, they might go up, but as of right now with our agency, the television live transfers are $85. Here's what that means to you, and here's why I like live transfers. Excuse me, let me put that to voicemail. Um, Higher end transfers, which what we're doing, include clients, callers calling in directly from a TV commercial. Like I said, it's either cable TV or, maybe they have streaming TV. Um, Calling in from a TV commercial. They're connected within seconds. There's no operator. They're calling directly from the commercial to you. Okay. So you're the person answering the phone. I love that. Exclusive. They're not rotated to multiple agents. We're hitting the right demographics. And the caller expects to speak with a licensed agent, which is you. Your job is to get them qualified for the best program available in their state. Okay, last thing I'm going to touch on, what agents experience from TV live transfers. I'm going to be talking about your acquisition cost, okay? Average. And this is kind of when you're going through the learning curve. If your closing ratios are right around, let's say 20, 25%, you're closing 1 out of 4, 1 out of 5. That means your acquisition cost is $340. That's what you could expect to invest to make one sale. If your commission is $700, $800, you're more than doubling your investment at this point. Once you get a little bit better and you're closing roughly about 1 out of 3, then your acquisition cost is going to go down to 240. And if you can become an elite producer where you're closing 45% of your leads, you can get your acquisition cost down to under 200 bucks. Now you're really making some money. But just remember, it takes some time to get through that learning curve. So that's everything I wanted to share with you today. Appreciate you tuning in. If you have questions, contact me again, Joe Johnson, Senior Life. Click the link in the description below. Let's have a conversation. Let's see if working in the TV live transfer space, let's see if that could potentially be a good fit for you. All right, everybody, God bless and have an amazing day. Thank you.